Happy Friday. Time for our voiceover only income numbers. We do these every single week, my dad and I. Todd Barsness over there, he just started his 17th year in voiceover, and I am in my 5.5 year run in voiceover. Started my the beginning of my sixth year in April is my anniversary, and August is your anniversary. So we don't do a lot of editing to these videos. We just come here every single week and talk about how much we make in voiceover. Right now, I'm trying to make 110 grand this year. I am on the doorstep. I
Hmm.
mean, the doorstep, less than $500 away from 100 grand already this year. One caveat, I still haven't heard anything about Napa, so I'm hoping that comes through at some point soon because I would be over the top with that. But at this point, it's just been a little bit more of a slow drip to there. And Dad is trying to make $188,000 this year. Dad, for what was it, 11 straight years, you made over $100,000 in
Hmm.
voiceover only income. There was 9 years we made over $200,000 in voiceover only income of those 11. And then of those 11 as well, you made $300,000 4 straight years. Um, and so that's just kind of our spiel. Um, we like numbers when it comes to voiceover, keeps us accountable, and you always know where you're at. So we like to have that carrot out in front of us to go after. My goal is is $2,100 a week. What's your goal? 35?
3,500.
3,500 a week. So with that in mind, we'll jump into our voiceover only income numbers. For my week, I had zero warm responses in direct marketing. It's been kind of slow on that front. Although I've been doing direct marketing for about the 6 years, that 5.5 years that I've been in voiceover, and I have like close to 1,000 warm responses um, that I've garnered and trying to stay in front of and turn into clients. So the warm responses are a little bit few and far between. I did get two auditions this week in direct marketing. Haven't heard anything back about them. I think I didn't win one because I think you won one of them that we got the
Oh,
same
yeah.
audition for.
Yep.
So
Finally.
I did, yeah, I did
Finally beat
do,
you once.
I know it. I did do 9 jobs between the platforms I'm on: Voice123, Direct Marketing, Upwork Voices, ACX, and Fiverr, and my agent. Nothing from my agent, nothing from Voice123, which is not typically normal. I did, however, book a job later this afternoon on Voice123 for next week, so
Nice.
it's $300. I'll be going towards that. Um, but nothing on Voices, ACX, or my agent. So I did do one, two, three, four, five, 6 jobs through direct marketing for a total of 1323.30. I did 3 jobs through Upwork, one new client and 2 recurring clients. 333 was my total there. And then Fiverr, I had a recurring job for $35. I get 28. So my voiceover only income numbers were below my goal of 2,100, $1,686.30. And then I do editing, 2 hours of editing for dad, $20 an hour, $40 on top of that, 1686.30. 1726.30 was my total. Once again, barring the missing Napa um, budget that I did 6 spots for. Um, and yeah, so that was my week. It was not super slow, but I said in our private group that my weeks are becoming less and less like this and this, and they're kind of becoming more like this. And sometimes there's bigger, but my lowest week this year, I think, has been like $1,300. So that's a pretty good floor when you miss your goal to not miss it
Yes.
by
Yes.
$1,000 or
Yep.
a couple of times, at least one time last year when I was trying to make 2,100 a week, I made $300. That was tough. That was
If you do,
tough.
if you do things like, for instance, in our private group, we were talking about one coach that was giving out some advice about the longer you're in voiceover, the more consistent your numbers are,
Hmm.
which is probably true, generally speaking. But you can be doing the wrong things
Hmm.
and having the wrong mindsets. And it doesn't matter if you're in for 100 years. You're not going to be consistent because you're doing the wrong things with the wrong mindsets. And so Hudson is doing the right things with the right mindsets. I'm in this as a business. Business exists to make a profit. And so I'm going to make a profit. I'm going to fill up my day with projects. Um, I'm going to be flexible with my pricing. I'm going to do a ton of auditions. I'm going
Hmm.
to send out a ton of emails over the long haul, stay in front of them. I'm going to be disciplined and organized. And I could go on with multiple other mindsets. But, um, but doing those things, then you can expect your business, your small business, your voiceover business to be more consistent, which yours is, and
Hmm.
mine still is, even though I'm trying to slow down and I'm not doing perfectly with that. Typically now, instead of being somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000 like it was for multiple years, now it's closer to 15 to 20, almost always. I had a slower week slower year at 13, slower month at 13,000 last month, but
Sure.
typically it's been between 15 and 20,000. So that's just a little caveat to it's doing this with some outliers here and there.
And the reason we give some of our numbers is because, and some people's businesses are built this way. But a lot of people say you just can't have consistency in voiceover, and Dad proved that you can. There's some people in our group that do it. There's other people in the voiceover industry that also prove that you can have a consistent income in voiceover. Um, and so that's kind of our thoughts, is that you can be consistent if you have the right mindset and the right approach. Kind of, we talked about hunger in our small group this week, and when you have goals to hit and you're not hitting them, you're willing to do things that other people aren't willing to do, which keep you in business and
Correct.
maybe get you closer to your goal. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. And by the way, when we give these numbers, you'll notice that at the end of our numbers, we never have a hook. We're not trying to sell you anything. We just
No.
aren't,
Mm-mm.
because we're two voiceover uh, uh, actors, talent, and we're not coaches. We don't take money for coaching. We will answer questions here and there. And I was just thinking, Hudson, just between you and I and the people that are watching this right now, we did, when we started our private group, we did those videos on the 20 mindsets. Maybe we'll consider putting those public.
Sure.
We'll look at those and we can put those public, and maybe people can benefit from that. So if you watch these and you say, well, these guys don't coach at all, I'd like to hear more about what they do. For one thing, there's no secret sauce. There just isn't secret sauce. Get that out of your head. There isn't secret sauce.
There's no
But
shortcut.
there's no shortcuts. There's no magic, silver bullet in any kind of, voiceover or business. But there might be some mindset sets that, if you were interested in, maybe we could put those out publicly and people could benefit. We'll see. If you see these and are interested, you can contact us. For my week, voiceover only income, voice1230 and voices.com 0. I have a couple of fish on the line that could possibly turn into jobs on both voices.com and voice123. Upwork 0. Fiverr, I had $1,108. Direct email marketing income was $2,990. My goal is $3,500. I made it this week. $4,098. That's 25 jobs. $4,098 for my voiceover only income for this week. That's
Nice.
all I got.
Hit your goal. Hey, it's all
Yep.
that matters. Hitting
Yep.
your goal, staying consistent, hitting your goal. Thanks for joining us. We're here every single week, basically, unless something comes up. Like Dad said, we are voice actors wanting to only be voice actors. And I think the voiceover industry would maybe benefit from more people just um, proving their worth by letting their work do the talking.
Mhm.
And
Your income.
yep. So anyway, that's our opinion. You don't have to share that opinion. Um, as I said, we don't do a lot of editing on these things. We're just here to show kind of the reason we started these videos was Dad had, you know, come off of his, I don't know, maybe second year of over $300,000, and I was starting my business, and we were trying to see if the inputs, the mindsets, the work ethic, all that stuff, business acumen, business practices would work for me starting out from nothing. So,
Hmm.
and they're doing pretty well. Like I said, I'm about to be past the $100,000 mark for the first time ever in my
Hmm.
career, and on pace for about 155, 160. So, anyway, thanks for joining us. Have a good weekend. Take care.
Bye bye.